Hey fam, it's your boy Maddie. Happy Tuesday. We're only 3 days from the weekend. Congrats on making it this far. Let's take a look at the story that matters today and how to make it actionable. And this story is so good. This talks about government action. This is coming from Innovative Research Group, and they do a monthly poll among Canadians asking about the economy and what people think we should be doing. And this specific one included the question, should we move away from capitalism? And this seems to be a resounding yes. We have 35% here on the left in blue saying 17% saying they strongly support, 18% saying they somewhat support a move away from capitalism. That's 35% in favor of. We have 31% of people saying they neither support or oppose, and then we've got 25% saying that they oppose it, which is pretty exciting stuff, especially given the nature of the world that we're living at the moment. We take a look here at more of like the segmentation, and we see that young people are totally down for moving away from capitalism, with 43% actively supporting it. We have almost 50% of women actively supporting it. And then we've got the breakdown by regions and parties, with the NDP, almost 60% of people are actively supporting a move away from capitalism, which is really exciting. And it is such a good indicator that we have on our hands the opportunity for victory. This is really heartening to see, because just a few years ago, I'll pull it up here, we had another study that came out that said 58% of Canadians see socialism positively. So this poll didn't specifically ask, should we move away from capitalism? But we had 58% of people say that they saw socialism positively. So now that people are saying that we should actively be moving away from capitalism is an exciting number, especially because we also saw another report the week before last from Angus Reid, I think it was, who came out and said that 70% of Canadians want to move away with a stronger economy and a stronger vision for the future than what we had in the past. And only 30% of people wanted to return to the economy and the way of life as before. So this is such an exciting story. And there's like a lot of numbers to break in here. So I would just say go to innovativeresearch.ca and you can take a look at the report yourself. It does offer and ask a lot of different questions about what Canada should do to address the economy and address moving past COVID and recovering. I think like the big ones here that people were really strongly in favor of and had a lot of importance to was like things like basic income, people wanting to make sure that there was medicine for all. There was childcare. Let's see if we can find the overall one here. That's basic income. So these are like the ones and then people ranked by importance, and they wanted to increase our manufacturing sector with strong support, 47%. So this is increasing medical goods. So that's talking about like nationalizing. We have people saying that we need to increase support for mental health, with over 50% saying they strongly support it. We have 51% of people strongly supporting requiring all workers to have access to sick leave. 48% strongly supporting increases taxes on wealth. 42% strongly supporting increases to minimum wage. And these are just like the big numbers. And we see like, I think moving away from capitalism had the largest space where people neither supported or opposed it. And I think this just goes to show, to make things actionable, that we need to listen. Whenever you're organizing, you have an 80-20 rule. And we want to be listening as much as we can, taking in people's concerns and feedback, and then gently encouraging them to find the answers themselves. And I think this is such a pivotal time in the movement. We see the capitalists, we see the billionaires shooting themselves off into space, and the realization among most people that they are not capitalists. They may live in a capitalist system and benefit from the exploitation of other countries and regions. They themselves do not actually benefit from any of that, especially when it comes to times of hardship as we are living through with climate change, and as we're especially pointed thanks to COVID. So I think that this is a really good time to just have those conversations with people and just ask, do you support capitalism? Or, hey, I saw this poll and it looks like most of the people were in favor of moving away from capitalism. What does post-capitalism look like to you? And I think just having those conversations in a non-judgmental, friendly, open way, just asking people, hey, it looks like most people support moving away from capitalism. What do you want to do? That's just a really easy way to engage people and kind of find where people's hearts and minds are at. Obviously, housing's a big thing that people are concerned about, inequality, just surviving. So many of my poor Zoomer friends are just like, they've got taken the doomer pill. They're so depressed all the time about everything. Like, dude, I just want like a planet that's not going to be burning down. I don't even think I'm going to get a pension because all the funds are going to be gone by then. So there's so much out there people are scared by. And just talk to the people in your network and say, hey, how are you feeling? This is a poll that dropped today. I was excited by it. What do you think happens post-capitalism? And as we have those those conversations, we can start leading to people to other actions. So that's the really easy, that's the really low hanging fruit. Let's just ask people how they feel about this poll that says we are moving, 35% of people want to actively move away from capitalism, which is pretty dope. So that's 60% of people who've made up their mind have said that they want to move away from capitalism, and we still have 30% of people saying they don't know. So that's a lot of people we still have to convert, which is a considerable step, considering just yesterday Justin Trudeau was out there saying on Black Ribbon Day, we remember the victims of communism and Nazism. Like, the victims of communism were Nazis. Those are people that are glad we're dead, and we need to make sure that that is a trend that continues. So even while we have the the prime minister of the country coming out and attacking socialists, I think it's a really good opportunity to remind Canadians socialism is good. Socialism does good things other than just kill Nazis. We do seek to have liberation and joy and happiness for all, and everyone can reach their full potential. So there's a lot of good points to it, and I would always recommend getting involved with an organization. And I'm going to say a few organizations here, and I apologize if there's something bad or sketchy about them. Please let me know in the comments, and I'll redact it. But for the top of mind, the ones, because I've joined a bunch of groups, the ones I think have been most helpful has been Courage, and then also Democratic Socialists of Canada. I will say a lot of people have had a lot of skepticism of Democratic Socialists of Canada, DSC, and I shared those concerns, and while I was with the group, I shared those concerns, but I will say that some problematic elements have left the organization. They recently had their convention. They just had their election for their, I think it's National Governing Council. I can't remember the official terminology, but it has been taken over by some Marxists. It's been taken over by some good revolutionary comrades, and the Social Democrats have fled the organization. So it has become a much better place to organize. I do think that they are best situated in Toronto. So if you're outside of Toronto, I'm not sure how active they are, but they are such a good group, so I definitely recommend them as well. And then Courage, they are kind of spread broad around the country, but they are talking about setting up chapters now in the West and also in Montreal. They're very active too, and they did have an Atlantic chapter, but I'm not sure what's going on with that, but definitely recommend joining them. And for both of these groups, they do have like their membership fee, and they ask for I think like $5 or pay what you can, or they've got a sliding. So here, Courage, pay $15 a year. So that's so simple. So I highly recommend that, and then you'll get an invite to the Slack, and then from there's a lot of different ways to get involved, a lot of different committees to be a part of, and it is all socialists trying to move towards a better future. And then for Democratic Socialists of Canada, it's very similar. You pay what you can, and then you join a Slack, and then from there you try to find your local chapter. The Toronto one is super active and does a lot of really cool stuff. And then for myself, both of those groups were dope, but I am looking for more. I want revolution, and for me, I've recently joined the Communist Party of Canada. I don't know if I'm even going to be allowed in, because they do have a very kind of strict vision they ask adherence to, which I totally respect, and I am kind of ANCOM, so I do respect the fact that I may not be permitted to join their ranks, but I just want to check it out, because you look at what's happening across the world, and we see really exciting stories like this. And I feel like, as great as this is for Canada, we have our neighbors to the south who aren't exactly known for being sweetie pies, who have a little bit of a bullying reputation. And I feel like if we really want to be a strong socialist nation and build up strong socialist movements, we might need to have a little bit more solidarity and structure and centralism, unfortunately, even though I hate to say it, to our tactics, because we only have 5 years to win this shit. And I personally feel like we might need to start talking about Vanguard Party. We need to talk to each other about specifically donating funds. How can we bring together all the influencers to make sure that they're going to pledge to give 10% of their income to us setting up a vanguard in their country? Because we need to take up more structured action to oppose the capitalist death knell as they try to impose themselves back into the world that's pushing them aside. And we need to have some structure to that fight. And we are so spread across the world and spread across even our own nation right now. So I would just say, I think this number where we have all of these people saying, 35% of people saying they want to move away from capitalism, is a good conversation for us to have with our neighbors. It's a good conversation for us to have with ourselves of what is post-capitalism to me. Do I want to join a group like Courage? Do I want to join a group like Democratic Socialists of Canada? Or do I want to go a little more hardcore and join the Communist Party? Like, define to yourself and look for yourself what you think is post-capitalism. And then I think from there we can start rallying together and building up a stronger organization to really do this in a structured way. Because we haven't had a need to do this as such a privileged society who's been living off of the labor of so many other nations and peoples. And I think as we now are kind of coming to a point where we realize that those opportunities to exploit and destroy are kind of coming to an end relative to what we had in the beginning half of the century. I think it kind of shows us that we need to get our shit together, and people are going to start coming together to rallying across a variety of fronts. And I think it's a really exciting time to, again, have that conversation with your friends, have that conversation with yourself, and come to the determination of what specific flavor you want to be joining to overthrow capitalism. And there's so much more to talk about, but that's all the time we have for today. We'll have to resume this conversation another day. Please join us Fridays, every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We talk about the federal election, and then every Monday we do Read Theory with Dimitri, talking about state and revolution at the moment, and again, how we can take the lessons of the past to apply them to the present to ensure that we have that revolution as quickly and safely as possible to ensure the liberation and joy of all people. So again, sending you love and solidarity. Peace.
Each fellow canals, they bullied and oppressed us, but still our union grows. And we're going to find a way, boys, for shorter hours and better pay, boys. Yes, we're going to win the day, boys. Where the Fraser River flows,